Hello everyone! Sunday night is roundtable night, but hopefully for not much longer, basically. In terms of music, I think that's the standby music I had or something. Or was it for something else? I'm not quite sure. Well, either way.
It was your new cover with Christina, I think.
Oh no, I thought I changed it. I thought I changed it back.
You did. They said it. They said that it sounds like relaxing rainforest flute music.
Oh, right. Okay, that must have been the original version. Well, I'll probably get a copyright claim for that eventually, but anyway. This is the roundtable, everybody. For those of you who are brand new to this type of video, welcome. I am joined by Hav.
Hello.
And I'm also joined by Sophie B.
Hello.
We are here to provide some special types of What If Free, as well as taking in super chats that help support the channel, as well as getting some really cool ideas. We have some mods available as well. And also, even if you're not able to do a super chat, we always pay attention to the comments and the chat, and your ideas are taken into account. So, yes. Yeah. And again, you provide good feedback to explain why the music sounds different. But
yeah, just FYI to our dear listeners and viewers, like, I cannot see your chats today because I'm on a family vacation near the lake, but I'm so committed to being here with you that I decided to join in from remote location.
Absolutely, Hav is
I'm a lake monster.
He's going above and beyond, taking some time out of his vacation to, be totally nerdy with us. So that is very much appreciated. So let's get the ball rolling. If you want to have a super chat of your own, you can leave a super chat down below by pressing the dollar button, showing your support, and giving whatever you can. Alright, let's start off with Papa Podo. It is, what if DBZ, Nappa, and Vegeta met Sans and Papyrus? I was like, hey Vegeta, look, they're dead. They're dead, Vegeta. No, they're not, Nappa. We're just in a different universe where things don't apply. And it's like, but come on, look. I can see right through him. He's all bone and bone. It's like,
God.
I know what Sans would say.
It would literally just be. How dare you say that about my mother? I think you found that funny, Vegeta. It's like, oh god damn it, Nappa.
Maybe if we had a Sans versus Vegeta fight, we'd actually get to listen to song that might play when you fight Sans instead of Megalovania.
And if it was Screw Attack, but if you know, then again, if it was made by Screw Attack, it'd be, and the winner is Superman.
Oh my god.
Still not salty about that. Nope. It's been
no, you're not salty.
No, it's been like 8 years. Only 8.
It's been 84 years.
Right, our Masako British flavored salt. Only at Masako store.
Oh no, it's rock salt. As in, it's like, no, Himalayan salt. It's very posh, but it's still just as bitter as sour. Oh no, it's the finest Himalayan salt.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Yeah, no, I trickle salt. Yes, I do. Of course I do. The Batosai. Can we just acknowledge how a legitimately good choice it was casting you as Jonathan Joestar? Oh no, that wasn't me being cast. I said, I am going to be Jonathan Joestar. And then Scott was, and Kaiser was, okay. It's like, by Bram Stoker's modest beard, I must defeat this evil. No, seriously. Look at me, honestly. I've been a wall of meat since I was 12. Do you think I eat bread? And I think I'm probably going to die before I turn 30. You said it, not me. And the thing is, though, the line where Jonathan says Capri Sun, that's not quite true. We say it as Capri Sun. Yep. We call it Capri Sun. Yeah. I was saying to Scott, you say Capri Sun. It's like, people won't get it. It's like, okay, first of all, who's the British guy here? I could say that you're not being appreciative of my cultural background. You're making fun of my accent, aren't you? Anyway. Okay. Okay.
I'm just enjoying the rant.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Margaret Evans, what if King Cold chose to retreat and make a plan? Maybe potentially, if King Cold decided to retreat and make a plan, so maybe like it depends when, but maybe like if King Cold got wind of that Frieza was about to blow up Planet Vegeta, he probably would have called him back and like say, you know, wait a minute, let's go back, make a plan, let's figure out something to bring them down from within. So basically,
I think they meant after Future Trunks.
Oh, okay. So right, in that case, if King Cold decided just to go away, he might have been able to get away with it. If he just ran away, Trunks might have just let him go. Because it's like, you know, it's getting quite clear that, you know, he's not really that strong anymore. So I think he would have just run away like a coward. But if he did, he probably, well, easily, he would have gone to his final form. Like, he would have come, if he had a plan, he would have trained up and gone into his final form. And come back.
Well, and here's the thing: is that might have ultimately bit the heroes in the butt, because you know they're making if they make assumptions about the lack of training that characters like King Cold and Frieza have exhibited, then if any of them get into the mindset of, hey, maybe I should train to get stronger, it really does throw a spanner into the works, just on account of the fact that they get such incredible gains, as we see from Dragon Ball Super, you know. So if Trunks was merciful enough to let King Cold run away, and King Cold actually did follow up by training, yeah, I think the heroes would be fairly fairly screwed. After that.
They would definitely be Foobarred. They would definitely be Foobarred. Yeah. Alright, Papa Podo. Nappa and Sans start punning at each other, and Papyrus and Vegeta suddenly realize what they're in for. Papyrus and Vegeta, oh no. So they try and out-pun each other. Mean Crank. What if Neko Majin was canon? If Neko Majin was canon, we basically would just have a similar thing what we have with Arale now. You know, stick him up against Vegeta, and Vegeta would be powerless against him. It's like, no, my one weakness is gag characters! So, in short, basically, if Neko Majin was there, he would have broken the universe, and maybe even Majin Buu. Even Buu found this guy annoying! Like, as in, like, even Buu can stand it, this guy jerk! But Buu not strong enough to beat him! What do? Okay, Monkey Bonobo Gorilla. Are you going to do a tournament of power with the Masako What If multiverse? Yes, eventually. We need to get a few more universes completely like under our belt to like, you know, fully get our roster in place. But
gotta finish fleshing out the roster with a full scope of what if universes.
Yeah, we don't want to necessarily have repeats, like repeat characters.
And
you know.
we are working on a one big one that we started, that came out from one of the roundtables. I think you guys will like this.
Yeah. Okay. Brendan Little. Here's a darker one. What if the Patrol, desperate to stop the Zero Mortal plan, agreed to free/restore Moro to deal with Black or Zamasu? Because if men can't be God, then maybe the devil can. Okay. Well, maybe if Moro was like, if you pitched it the right way to Moro, like say, hey, do you want to go up against a fallen angel? Do you want to go up against a fallen god? Why? I'm listening. As in, like, you know, okay. But then again, it's like getting a cat to deal with mice. What do you do with the cat afterwards? So it's like, yeah, sure, you stop Black and Zamasu, but then you've got Moro wandering around going like, oh, I quite like having this power.
And listen, like, so you know what the scary thing? Sorry. You know what the scary thing? Like, he may essentially drain, fuse Zamasu so much, like, he's still immortal, and make him, like, you know, an infinite battery.
Oh, God. Oh, jeez. Oh, God, yes, of course. Oh, that'd be dark. That would be dark, Brendan. Basically, you know, they... Sorry, go ahead, Soph.
Oh, I was just going to say, so you've kind of got the issue with invasive species that places like New Zealand and stuff like that had to deal with.
Sort of, yeah. Sort of.
Yeah, so it's a situation where you invite in a species to take care of your pest, and then the species you brought in becomes the pest.
Yeah.
And it's worse than before.
It's definitely that's an oof moment to say the least.
It happened with goats before.
Yeah. Mean Crank. What if Garlic tried creating his own Dragon Balls? If he was able to come up with his own Dragon Balls, like, say, for example, Garlic Jr. wishes upon the dragon, I wish for my own set of Dragon Balls! So, say that worked. I imagine probably, one thing's for sure, they wouldn't be any stronger than what Shenron can do. And then, depending on that, they would probably be corrupted, like, in some shape or form. Oh, Garlic. Oh, we're talking about Garlic Senior. Oh, okay. Garlic Senior. Right. Well, at that time, we didn't know about Kami being in the Namekian. We just thought, oh, the Guardian of Earth just makes the Dragon Balls.
Yeah.
So at that moment in time, we thought, oh, the Guardian of Earth is in charge of the Dragon Balls. So, if that were the case, he would just then try and make his own Dragon Balls once Kami, the ones that turned to stone. So basically... Oh no, they wouldn't be the garlic balls. They'd be the garlic cloves, because he's garlic.
Well, here's a question though. Is like, wouldn't that be a good way of establishing an origin story for the Black Star Dragon Balls if you wanted to use them like come GT? Because if the Guardian of Earth, right? Let's say that the Guardian of Earth is what makes the Dragon Balls in this universe. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Namekian specific power. And considering that the Namekians are not like the Dragon Balls have existed, at least the Super Dragon Balls, since before the Namekians, so to speak. That isn't to say that another species might not be able to learn how to make Dragon Balls.
Yeah.
So perhaps part of the testing to see who would become the Guardian of Earth was you need to make a set of Dragon Balls. And the reason why, one of the reasons why Garlic wasn't chosen was because his Dragon Balls were flawed. They could grant more powerful wishes, but if you didn't find them and regather them in within a year, the Earth would blow up. Kind of a bad side effect for a Guardian of Earth.
Yeah.
Also, for some reason, I imagined like both Garlic and Kami as children, on a school project, and like, Kami getting all the golden stars with his beautiful Dragon Ball, and sad Garlic with his blood star.
See, now I'm just imagining it being like a Guardian of Earth Academy, like so many shonen manga, like it's like the ninja school from Naruto, and then
My Kami Academia.
Kami's the perfect student, and Garlic's the student who's struggling to be the best.
No, that's
Oh my gosh, like Dragon Ball Divine High School with different classes for Kais, Gods of Destruction, Angels with like.
Oh gosh, this sounds like a high school AU fanfic.
Yeah, with God, with GP being the headmaster.
Oh.
Oh
Okay.
gosh.
Right, Vulcan.
And
next.
Angel being teachers.
Okay, Vulcan. What if Gohan trained after Cell? Well, basically, if he'd had, he probably would have been able to finish off Dabura a bit sooner. Like, a bit sooner. Vegeta may not have gotten so angry about Gohan getting all soft and stuff. So he might have, like, been able to kind of buy some time before becoming a Majin. So there's that. And then what if Gero found a big Getter? If Gero found it, he probably would be, like, interested in it. Would you say? He'd be interested.
Yeah, I think they would work together very well.
Yeah, they would. No, I think
Yeah, considering that Dr. Gero has already got the whole like transhuman thing going on when it comes to modifying himself into being an android. I think that he would go pretty well with the concept of the big Gettister, as you say. However, if the reason for his development of such cyber technology is an attempt to perfect humanity, he might be able to be a little bit smarter than Cooler in that regard, and actually perceive that there are some very negative parasitic side effects to joining with the big sister.
Okay.
And decide against it, especially if his goal was his own personal view of bettering the human race.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Podo's next.
Mass-produced Infinity Engine army.
Yeah, exactly. Podo, for my Dragon Ball X Undertale what if, I'm debating about what Goku Dreamer's power level should be at the Pilaf Saga, since he grows up training with the bosses and he gets a Zenkai boost right before the Pilaf Saga.
Am I going robot, guys?
A little bit.
Nope.
A little bit.
Not for me.
I mean, let me see if I can fix this.
Well, either way.
I'm not a robot.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
But yeah, no, basically, Goku Dreamer, I think probably the power level should be not necessarily much different as to be, like, what it is, already. So I think, as in, like, I think it would probably just be, like, a little bit slightly above average of a normal human or a normal being. Enough with the potential, but not enough to kind of, like, really go overboard. So I would say definitely above average.
Testing.
Okay, you're all right.
Okay, good.
All right, Viper Phoenix. What if Icarus found Gohan when injured in the Buu saga? Oh man, that'd be the ultimate callback, wouldn't it? Just like, one time Gohan's injured, and then you hear, and then just Icarus just picks. No, Icarus is this big, really like, and it's just like this big grown-up dragon. It looks really badass, and just grabs Gohan by the hands and then takes him home. Just like this grown-up Icarus. Extremely powerful. Looks like a badass.
We need to put adult Icarus somewhere. Come on, this idea.
Yeah, a grown-up and a big dragon. Of course he would be. Viper Phoenix again. Scottish Moro. What makes me a bad guy is Chukin Goku. If I were a good guy, I wouldn't be here killing your planet now, would I? The Botosai now. What if for some reason Bulma turned evil? She'd have somewhat of a chance by making Vegeta her loyal slave. Oh, I know. No, basically, Bulma wakes up one day and then basically, basically then wants to like take over the planet, and Vegeta's like, oh god, yes, that's hot. And it's like, and you could be my greatest warrior. Oh, you say that again.
Oh my gosh.
No, basically, but in all seriousness, if basically Bulma gets like jaded by like the human condition, basically every single time there are all these alien invaders, all the people on the world, they don't really do much against it. Like the Saiyan invasion, people don't really care about it. I feel like not long after it, everyone just forgets about it. So
well, and after the Saiyan invasion, the humanity itself isn't really all that useful. They have to rely on their Saiyan and half Saiyan and quarter Saiyan,
yes.
Immigrants.
Yeah.
I just imagine Bulma gathering everyone in a party. Guys, I was thinking about this for some time, but I decided to be evil. Oh yeah, Bulma, we totally get it. We accept it, and we are going to support you in this endeavor. We accept your change.
Yeah,
being evil without much drama. Everyone knows that she decides to go evil.
Oh, okay. Viper Phoenix now. What if Saibamen were aware, and when Nappa grew them, they rebelled against the Saiyans? Coincidentally, do you think Cell maybe had Cyber DNA in him? Oh man, imagine if he had like.
I actually think it's not something I actively considered until someone asked the question, but I would almost say that it's like practically a guarantee. I mean, look at the Saibamen, look at the Biomen, like. They look a lot like Imperfect Cell. He's even got like a similar mouth in the case of like comparison to like the Bioman, and of course that is Toriyama's style. He draws like robots and aliens very similarly,
Yeah.
But also if you needed the creature that you were creating to like gestate quickly, right? That would be perfect. And of course we know that Cell does have a backup self-destruct if things go bad.
Yeah, and
so
can you imagine Pip so going, I am a bioman!
oh gosh.
I
mean,
want the
that's a-
Roshi!
I mean, I think that the self-destruct might come from Chaozu's DNA.
Alright, Kirby163. What if 17 and 18 had helped in the Goku Black arc? Okay, if 17 and 18 were there in the Goku Black arc, they somehow survived. They may have gotten a little bit stronger, but I can imagine that Zamasu and Goku Black would have been even more angry that these are mechanoids who were the creation of humans. Basically, humans playing God and creating their own life.
It might have made for a better might have made for a better sort of like theme to go with the narrative as well, because it would have given more like insult to the godly character of Zamasu, while also adding more to the interactions between the 17 and 18 of that universe of Universe 7 in the present timeline compared to the bad future timeline. Like it would be a form of like 17 and 18 redeeming themselves after a fashion, even though it wasn't their fault for the apocalypse in the present timeline. And so you might get some interaction between them and future Trunks and future Mai and stuff like that. And it might have had some opportunities to go, more in depth with the narrative of the characters than Dragon Ball usually does.
And I think 17 and 18 might not be able, to off Zamasu, but I think they could off. If they went in a good moment in the series, they would off Black. Like there would be no checking out, no sparring fights, no. Like 17 and 18 would straight off killed Black.
Consider for the fact that both 17 and 18 have the infinite energy engine, right? Well, we've never really considered like, okay, well, if that means that they can generate energy at a set rate infinitely, right? As is theorized, then what if the trick to defeating Zamasu and Goku Black was to give an appropriate fighter that energy, because 17 and 18 can't do it themselves. So what do? They help Trunks achieve a new form, a new transformation by giving him their infinite energy, essentially, for a temporary but immense power boost, because his Saiyan body can handle it,
Right.
Sophie, I have a line. I am infinite Trunks. I can never stop.
Oh. Alright, Viper Phoenix. Monkey and Slug Episode 2. Goku and Slug have to deal with an irate customer, all while trying to hide health code violations from Superintendent Frieza. I think this is in context of last week. Monkey and Slug. And it's just
oh my gosh.
And just Superintendent Frieza comes in. Goku! Nah! Superintendent Frieza! Freezer!
Goku and his crazy explanation. Super Emperor's gonna need his medications. When he sees Goku's lame exaggeration,
there'll be genocide tonight. Goku! Yeah, it'd be that. Right, Podo. How many what ifs do you have to finish before you start new ones? I'm mostly waiting to see what if Kakarot was raised by the Galactic Patrol. Well, I know that there will be a couple of ones in the next few weeks that I will be wrapping up, but I want to finish up a few more before we start some more new ones. Basically, we got there's at least 20. I think there's at least a dozen going that I think I'll be wrapping up soon. But I just want to finish a few more before we start some new ones. Just kind of so that means we got some got some good closure. And that means people can't say that, we just we start but we never finish. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just giving them their due, but we come up with some good ones. And obviously
we recently finished Broly.
Sorry?
Well,
we recently finished Broly.
Oh, that one, yep. Future Gohan.
Yeah, they finished Broly.
Wrapping up in a few weeks. And Frieza turned good. Part 11 will be out on the 22nd, and I think there'll be one more part after that, and then we're done. Or at least we're done in its current guise, because to be honest, that universe I want to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely, because I'm looking forward to episode 11. It's going to be my longest one yet at 25 minutes. It's a long boy. It's a long boy. Yeah, it definitely is a very long boy. And there'll be Final Form Trojan. I'm looking forward to that.
Yep.
Yes. Final
And I'm working on
Trojan.
final part of Zamasu. I'm doing that for a long time, but that's my baby. And
You want to
yeah,
make it right.
yeah.
Of
Yeah.
course, of course. All right, APC. What if Goku had more time on Yardrat to learn more techniques? Maybe during the 3-year training before the androids. Well, the thing is, though, APC, we found out in the Moro arc that Goku could have stayed longer, but he got bored. Basically,
Because Goku's the kind of person who, if it doesn't come easy to him, he does get bored.
Well, he learned the instant transmission, and he thought, okay, that's enough. Bored now. Like, he didn't come back to Frieza because he didn't come back because of Frieza. He wasn't all that bothered, you know, or he didn't he wasn't as urgent as he was. But if he did, he probably would have learnt. I think he probably would have learnt healing, either that or cloning to like spar with himself. Like, yeah, he can like crazy Redamu. No, they can be like 2, like as in like the blue ones. So it can be any tier. I've not gated it. Viper. What if the Para brothers were in the Tournament of Power? Goku could be like, hi, they seem familiar. And maybe Vegeta would be like, no. But you know what? The Para brothers would actually be really good in the Tournament of Power. If they were in that universe, they could just have there's nothing wrong if they basically, because they got beatboxes in their suits. In their suits.
Oh gosh.
They got their suits. So basically, some of the weaker the Universe 10 lot, they completely decimate Universe 10.
Can I make an admission about Para Brothers? Para Brothers. I don't hate them. I think they're funny.
I think they're funny too. And honestly, their power is actually pretty good. And I feel like if they were in the Tournament of Power, they would like decimate Universe 10 because they're a bunch of meatheads.
I feel like they're.
Oh, whoa, okay. Oh wow, we had loads of crashing from Hav there. You know what
dear.
we had with you? We had that Hav's had that happen. Oh dear.
Oh jeez.
No, don't worry, Red. That was Hav this time. Oh no, that was Hav.
Yeah, Red. That was Haverock this time.
Yeah,
Don't jinx me because then it's gonna happen to me again.
Well, either way, we wrapped that up one basically. But okay, APC 218. What if Bardock's crew survived? Well, if Bardock's crew survived, basically, they would go and try and find Kakarot. Like, they would try and look for clues and scour the galaxy trying to find where Kakarot might have gone. Because I'm pretty sure they would have, if they had they were survived, the scouters would have been active, and Bardock had his scouter. So they would have found out that, you know, via the scouter, that Bardock had sent off, you know, Kakarot off into space. So they would have tried and look for clues for like ages. And I can imagine, like, you know, Toma and the crew ending up on Earth. They haven't gotten that much stronger, but basically they find Goku and all that stuff. But they're probably not as like evil or nefarious as Raditz, because they're against Frieza too. But I can imagine they probably would have told Goku a lot about Bardock. So it would have been like, cool. And then it's like that would have been it really, just closure for a part of his life that Goku didn't know about. Nice little bit of context. Alright, Brendan Little. Goku. So, are we pals now? Turned good Frieza. You fill me with a revulsion I normally hold for plague vermin, or a beached whale full of expired mayonnaise left to rot in the scorching sun of a dying planet. So that's a no then? I guess that's a no then. Yes.
So
no.
you're saying
no.
there's a chance.
Yes. No.
I think the more Goku thing to say would be like, we're besties now.
Oh no, we're not pals, Frieza. We're best pals.
Okay, best buddy.
Get used to that, Frieza. He keeps saying it.
Oh, good. He's moved on from me.
Oh, good. I'm not in the limelight anymore. Kirby163. What if Videl was the main character of the Buu saga? Oh man, that would be a major pivot. Like,
Yep.
like all the stuff that Gohan had taught her was enough to actually bring her on to par with the Dragon team. Like, or if you just like did it from her point of view, you suddenly get this super strong boyfriend who then having to look after the universe, basically ending up on the lookout, and you find all of this out. Your mind has been blown with the origins of how your father was a hack and stuff like that. It would have actually been a really interesting melodrama. Like, with all this supernatural stuff going on around you, having no clue what it's all about, no context whatsoever, you being able to learn how to fly, it would have been nuts.
Well, and you would get this outsider's perspective, right? Of like, if you focused entirely on these characters that were not yet affiliated with all of the people that we've been following since OG Dragon Ball, you'd wind up with kind of this fresh perspective of what it's like for the ordinary people on Earth to be exposed to the kind of crazy that happens because of the presence of Saiyans and other aliens and the big huge battles and all that other kind of stuff, right?
Right?
So it would almost be like this sort of mystery thriller placed in a shonen series, and of course you'd wind up with a lot more of the high school arc if it was following Videl, because obviously there'd be more focus on like her examination of and like following around of Gohan to figure out his secrets and stuff like that. But I think it would have been an interesting approach, you know.
No, I think it would have been.
Yeah.
Okay, Podo. What if trained Bulma was a Kamen Rider instead of an Iron Woman? Because Kamen Rider is better and cooler. To be honest, it would have saved about a minute's worth of animation for any animation crew, because you could just use the same stock transformation again and again. No, you would save 2 minutes, because you then have this trademark, like, I'm going to use this attack, and then big flourish, boom, all that kind of stuff. So you save 2 minutes worth of animation right there, 10% of the runtime, and then you gotta, like, you know, and I'm going from Masked Rider, and all that stuff. So it would have generated more and more hype, to be honest. It was certainly hype. It would have been much more hype, whereas Iron Woman would have just been straight up badass. Whereas I think with Kamen Rider style, there would have been more excitement and hype, just like as in like more excitement at certain key moments. Yeah. Considering
like what you did with that particular what if in your version of it, right? Because I know that a couple of people have experimented with that sort of thing, and if they don't make her an outright fighter, you know, like everyone else, they usually go the whole like Iron Maiden route. But honestly, I thought that the design that you went for, as far as like what her battle suit and stuff like that looked like, took more inspiration from those sort of tokusatsu, Super Sentai shows than something like Iron Man. Which I think, yeah.
No, I agree.
I was just gonna say I thought it was a truly inspired choice, and I really liked the look and felt it meshed well with the Dragon Ball universe. So
cool. Yeah, no, Malik did a really good job with that design. Yeah, I left that all up to him. So basically, he did a good job on that. Okay.
Good job.
Hannah Rowan. I have a theory I would love your opinion on. And, okay, the earliest of Saiyans were very similar to the Azarian appearance and power, before evolving to more humanoid forms when change became necessary. Oh, yeah, because you see in the filler flashback about the Saiyans, they do look very much more muscular and animalistic. So I imagine probably they were a lot more kind of ape-like in their original guise, then became more like cavemen and Neanderthals, and then just refined themselves more. But in the Universe 6 Saiyans, I believe they evolved more and more and more and more. Like, they refined even more. Like, I'm gonna have next
they're
month,
further down the evolutionary path.
Yeah. They've evolved away the tails and stuff like that. But I've got a video coming out on this in October of my 15 most unpopular opinions about Dragon Ball. I have unpopular opinions. Like,
don't we all though?
Yeah, no, like immediately, I didn't mind the tingly back. I actually liked Frieza's third form. Marin would have actually been a pretty good wife for Krillin. Just saying. Not the best, but pretty good. As in, like, if you couldn't have 18, Marin would have been okay. But I'll talk more about that in the video. I will say that.
So you're saying that the filler character would have been a decent silver medal.
I would have probably said decent 4th place. I would say decent
fourth place.
4th place.
Okay, so that implies that there's a 2nd and a 3rd place. If 18 is ranked first, who's the 2nd and 3rd place then, Masako?
Well, you know, all that time going to Namek made me see Bulma in a very different light. If she weren't with Yamcha, I might have made my move. I'm just saying. Come on.
Well, I mean, I went with the Krillin Bulma combination for my what if. So I mean, I think it has a possibility to happen. I've always thought that Krillin, especially once you get out of the OG Dragon Ball era, Krillin developed a lot as a character. Became a better character even. And going into Super, you know, I've seen people because of, you know, various different reasons weren't happy with his choice of profession or whatnot, but it's like, you know, that he's doing the same thing as Gohan after a fashion, in that he wants to try and help people and he uses his strength to do so. Dragon Ball Super is just all over the place in terms of power scaling, so it makes him look weaker than he really should be.
APC 218. What if Bullet and Beerus during the Broly movie were like a Mindy and Buttons skit from the Animaniacs? Oh god, that would have been amazing. Like, just like, Mindy and Buttons. Oh, is that the one that was like, oh, I love him and squeeze him and pet him? Is it that one?
Oh gosh, Elmira.
Oh, Elmira. No, Mindy and No. Oh, it's the toddler. And Buttons the dog. That one.
Oh, you're thinking of
Mindy's the one that always gets into trouble and Buttons is rescued and then gets basically told off for being a bad dog.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
Oh
yep,
man.
Yep. Buttons and Mindy, and Mindy's big thing is, okay, I love you, bye-bye.
Okay, I say no, but Bull just is like, you know, wandering around, and Beerus is like, no. That would have been much. Yeah, and Bulma just comes back. Oh, thank you, Beerus. You did a really good job. Get that thing away from me.
So Beerus chases Bulla. That's how the story goes.
Yeah. All right. APC back again. What if Fat Buu won over Evil Buu, making Super Buu one of the good boys? Well, okay, maybe if they reformed and Fat Buu won over, you just get this big Super Buu guy who's just like, hello, but he just like, just this good guy who looks really evil and nefarious. Like, don't worry. It's like, Buu, nice guy now. It's like, I may look evil, but Buu nice. Buu give hug. It would have been actually kind of pretty funny. It would have been pretty funny.
It always kind of confused me the way that worked with Super, you know, Mr. Buu or Good Buu, however you want to phrase it. Mr. Buu separates from Evil Buu, and Evil Buu consumes him, and it makes Super Buu. But it's like, well, weren't you guys already? Yeah, but I mean, it always confused me because it's like, I know that there's the whole possibility of being more than the sum of your parts. So there's clearly some kind of weird disparity between what the two characters are like when they've got all of their spiritual parts together. But it's like, I feel like if Mr. Buu had won that fight and consumed Evil Buu, it would have just gone back to status quo, and he would have just been the same as he'd always been.
Well, I mean, it depends really, but I think it was just, again, who was in charge of the driving stick in a way. All right, Chrome. I think it's Chrome Bison. Yeah, Chrome Bison. Suppose King Vegeta and his Saiyan army were resurrected and empowered from afterlife training, and they tried to conquer Earth during the Super Era. What if Vegeta had to fight his father? Oh, can you imagine? That would have been a mini arc. That would have definitely been a mini arc of, like, you know, Vegeta. That would have been a proper showing how far Vegeta had come. Basically, King Vegeta comes back and says, "Is this your planet, son?" You could say that in a way. And then basically, well, stand aside, son. Yeah, you've done a good job, but it's now time for father. It's like, I don't think so. And you just have this moment of showing how far Vegeta had come. Basically, it's all about how much the prince has progressed and how he's truly a king of this world. You know, the life I have makes me feel like a king. More than your title ever would have. So, proper, like, I've changed, father.
Yeah, and I think he would burn King Vegeta for his title not meaning anything anymore.
Yeah, no, he would have done. No, agree. Alright, Philip Perkins. What if Namekians got Zenkai boosts? Okay, so basically every time they regenerated, like if they regenerated majorly, or if it took a long time, if they got like a Zenkai boost, but the fact is though, if the fact they can regenerate, the only way that you can make it from not being broken is the Zenkai boost is not as big as a Saiyan one. So
you'd have to reduce it to a scale that was less than a Saiyan's, but more consistent, you know?
Yeah, I would say so. Just more consistent, agreed.
I don't think it would hugely change things up, but I mean, it might make Piccolo a little bit more relevant in the later arcs if he'd been able to maintain just, you know, that kind of upper tier of power level.
Well, I don't think we would have said no to that.
Especially after Imperfect Cell.
Yeah, especially after Imperfect Cell.
No,
like, because we got the Piccolo and Kami fusion, and it was like, oh, he's so powerful now, and then he gets just basically gamed right out of the narrative after the 17 fight.
Yeah, no, agreed. Okay, Kevin Blanco. What if Goku was wished back to Earth during the fight with Frieza? He said he wouldn't forgive King Kai if he did that. Oh yeah, no, basically, if they basically ignored it, then I think Goku would have actually been really angry. Like, he'd have let out his anger. I think probably people would have gotten hurt. He would have been able to be calmed down. But then he would basically keep saying, Frieza's still out there. I gotta go back out there and get him. So we would have just had, like, you know, Goku versus Frieza round 2. Pretty much. So, it just wouldn't have been done. And then there probably would have been resentment going on. A lot of angst within the Dragon team, to be sure. Okay. It would have probably resulted
in Goku waiting for Dr. Briefs to finish a second spacecraft, which we all know he was already working on, and then basically said, okay, well, you robbed me of my opportunity to finish my fight with that guy. I'm gonna go off into space now. Bye, Gohan.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Arthur E. King. What if instead of Zamasu/Black, Future Trunks' timeline was GT? Namekian Bulls resurrect everyone. Well, if it was GT and Future Trunks was the main guy, it would certainly been a bit more surreal. And probably like a bit more of an interesting thing. But I think, and also, you wouldn't have had Super Saiyan 4. So I think, honestly, we'd have to play the sound. But I only play it halfway, because it was, like, not as bad. But I feel like it just would have... I don't know, actually. What would you think, Soph?
Say the question again.
What if instead of the Goku Black arc, it was Future Trunks' timeline was GT?
Future Trunks' timeline following the narrative as put forth by GT?
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, you have to ask yourself, okay, well... Oh my gosh. I think I know how this would go. What would wind up happening is someone, we'll probably say Pilaf, you know, let's assume Mai is no longer part of the Pilaf gang, because obviously she's hanging around with Future Trunks and stuff like that. The wish would still have to happen that turns one of the characters into a kid. I don't think it would be Trunks though, because I think that if Pilaf was going to be confronted at this point with all of the heroes of Earth more or less dead, what would wind up happening is he'd probably be confronted by future Bulma, most like. And if he still made the wish to have them be a kid, you know, you'd wind up with a young Bulma traveling around with Trunks and Mai. and I think the general feel of the series would have been a little bit different. Um, I honestly don't think it's a super conducive timeline to do GT oriented stuff because so few of the core characters remain alive. You'd have to create a lot of like OCs and stuff in order to make it really work because once you get into later arcs, I mean, because they can't really go traveling around the universe in search of the Black Star Dragon Balls when they've already ostensibly got people up in space just trying to find new Namek to get to the Namekian Dragon Balls.
Yeah,
And on the
But
other
if you
hand,
change up, go ahead.
On the other hand, wow, we have another set of Dragon Balls on Earth. Why haven't we used them before? Even with the
Because
Rift.
they'll blow the planet up.
yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Arthur
Yeah,
King's
it
next.
makes.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Uh,
You go ahead and move on. It's fine.
No. Carry on. Sorry, you cut out there.
All I was gonna say is that that it makes the narrative a little bit tragic because it's like, oh, we could have wished everyone back and then gone to look for these Dragon Balls, but the wish got wasted, and that could have been like a thing that causes Mai to formally interrelate her friendship with like Pilaf and Shu if it's them who are responsible. Or what have you, and then of course, like if nobody's left to defend Earth, you have to ask yourself, okay, well, if GT's going down, but Zamasu's still a thing, how's that gonna work out? Are they gonna return to Earth only to find it, dominated by this godlike eye in Goku's body?
Yeah, no, definitely. Arthur again. Dragon Ball discussion idea. What would the natural life cycle of a cell be, both imperfect and perfect? What's the source of cells' transformations? Well, technically, actually, it says so in the anime. Cell's basically immortal. Like, basically, he has consistent regeneration, and the way that his body works, basically, it's basically just sort of like along the lines of, he will live forever. So the natural life cycle of a cell would be, he's reached perfect, imperfect, perfect, and then he is like that forever. So actually, as it's been proved in the anime.
Eternal is a better word because he can still die.
Okay, eternal, as in like he is impervious and he does not age.
Well, and I mean, if his body has as good of regenerative capabilities that it can literally fully reform himself from a single organ,
Yeah.
Then his regenerative properties would more than likely mean that his body doesn't undergo the same kind of degradation that a normal body goes through as it ages.
Yeah.
So as far as like how long could he survive, indefinitely.
Yeah.
He would only be able to be killed unless he was eliminated.
Yeah.
Unless, after so many years with, putting so many pressures on his cells go a little bit broken and he starts to get basically what Deadpool has.
Oh, an extreme form of cancer, basically?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that probably I think would be the only risk. But anyway, Nerd King has come up with a £50 donation. Thank you so much, buddy. Thank you so much. He wants to say, I wasn't planning to make a second donation today, but me and Mum really had a wonderful day. We like spending time in our beautiful garden with lovely weather, and I want you guys to have some of this happiness today. You're the best. Aw, thanks, Nerd King.
Oh, thanks.
That is really, really
Thank
appreciated.
you, Nerd King.
Thank you so much for that. We enjoy being with you guys as well, but this is just a really nice little contribution. It really does help. Really, very much a lot. Thanks, Nerd King. It really does. We will continue to do our best. We shall share happiness and mirth with our very nerdy ideas. Thank you very much, buddy. Hope you're well.
I can see a lake from my window.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty.
Hope you continue to have a great day in your garden.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. 28 days later, what if Beerus woke up during Trunks' timeline? If he basically woke up during Trunks' timeline and realized that Trunks is the only Saiyan left, he probably would have just destroyed the Earth. Basically, he had this premonition. It didn't come true. He would have either gone and gone like, oh well, this was a thing. Oh well, this was a waste of time. I'll blow up the planet. Or if Trunks can convince him this whole thing, and then they go and find New Namek, they find the Dragon Balls, they bring Goku back, or Beerus just goes to the other world. He goes to King Kai's, finds Goku there, and then just does it there. Goku's not strong enough to do it, so I think Beerus just takes it out on the Earth.
I think I just came up with a funny idea of like Beerus wakes up, right? But if he wakes up and something particularly bad has happened, right?
Yeah.
I feel like Beerus would kind of be in trouble because it's sort of an indication that he hasn't really been doing his job properly.
Oh.
So instead, it becomes this game of Beerus attempting to get Whis to help him figure out a way to fix whatever problems have come up because of this nap, so that nobody, especially Zeno, finds out. And then like he's struggling the whole time because it's a situation where he's like, I'm gonna be the one who gets Hakkai'd when all this is over, if anyone finds out about it. And then like at the end of the series, when everything seems to have been fixed, it turns out Zeno already knew, and he didn't care because it was fun to watch him run around.
To watch him squirm.
Yeah.
The cat was funny.
Pretty much. Hannah Rowan. What if the present Z-Fighters attain the memories of their Mirai counterparts as a result of Trunks' time travel? So little Trunks 1718. And then I think Krillin would go, my name was Clarin! And we all survived! Okay, that's good. the old big green clearing.
Well, not all of us. I have perished, you know? And for some reason, please don't call me Big Green.
He disagrees with me. But anyway, if they did, it depends when they did. But basically, if they found out the way they died in that future, it would make them all the more motivated to be actually able to, it would probably be a way to spur them on to train even more than they did. So they probably would be slightly stronger and more determined, like taking this threat seriously. Yeah, and it was also, they'd probably it'd be very introspective, definitely. Super Spork, what would a Namekian X Saiyan fusion be like? Zenkai's from self-healing? Would it be permanent due to biology? I think the fusion would still be like Potara and Fusion Dance, still temporary. But I think you could get self-healing Zenkais, you could easily break that. But I don't think that the powers would carry over into their respective forms. And I think mostly...
I don't think they have enough time to make a full use from like self-healing Zenkai.
But I think in terms of that, they would definitely have green skin.
Real quick, R3 King says that he didn't mean how long Cell would live, but meant if Perfect Cell had children, what would their process of maturation be, and would they transform?
Well, I think they would. Well, as we saw with Cell Juniors, they were basically in a perfect form, but chibi. So basically, they were pretty much. They probably would just grow into a mature body, but still perfect, like still at the level of a Super Saiyan.
I think it would be largely determined by what state Cell was in when he chose to have children. Like as you modeled them after like the Cell Juniors and stuff like that, they look reminiscent of Perfect Cell's form, which has a lot of human Saiyan features, right?
Yeah.
So a child Perfect Cell, or a child of Perfect Cell would look like a child human Saiyan, etc., and grow into as a normal form of transformation, or a normal form of development, and probably wouldn't have like any extra transformations beyond that, apart from maybe being able to unlock something similar to like, Bronze Cell, coming from the Frieza genes. But if they were to be born from Imperfect Cell or even Semi-Perfect Cell, I think they'd probably be a lot more bug-like. We know that Imperfect Cell's birth form was not what we actually see him fighting in. So they would have probably had a process as far as that goes, as far as having like an egg and then a larval stage, and then growing into their imperfect forms. And if Imperfect Cell had these children before achieving his perfect ability, then their own genetics would likely be incomplete as well. But they wouldn't have any ability to, say, complete their genetics unless perchance you were to say something like, oh, if Cell failed to absorb his android brethren, then one of his children could and follow the stages of transformation.
No, they need to absorb Maron.
Yeah.
And 18th and 17th child to reach their perfect form.
Oh my god! Oh my gosh! First off, that's kind of dark considering they're kids at that point. But oh my gosh!
All right, let's.
But that also kind of implies that Marin's born with the Infinity Engine, which I kind of hope's canon. I kind of hope it's canon, but I doubt it.
But anyway, let's move on. R3 King, what if planet Vegeta was destroyed because it was infested with xenomorphs and one Saiyan-infused xenomorph escaped? So basically, okay, if it was with xenomorphs, you basically would just have the Saiyan-xenomorph-like hybrid. You get something like species. I don't know. You would just get something more aping what, Frieza was doing with his third form, basically.
Knowing his infortune, that Saiyan would have been Beats.
Yeah, it would have been Beats. Yeah, just the most unassuming of Saiyans. Yeah.
And you have that, that Xenomorph, bursting, that chest buster bursting out of his chest. And he's like, oh no, not again.
Beats as played by John Hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Alright, DevDog Productions. What if Turles was canon and was related to Goku? I would imagine if... We've had this a couple of times, actually. The best way to explain Turles' similar hairdo is that he is a brother from another mother. Half-brother.
Or even a cousin or something.
And you know what? If you could go... Let's go an extra step further. Because I've seen people do the brother. I've seen people do the cousin thing. What if instead Turles was like that creepy uncle? Like he was Bardock's half-brother, right? And so you wind up with this Saiyan who was like, he was off on a job or something, and maybe he was like a wet works guy, like a Black Ops sort of deep mission sort of person, right? So instead you wind up with him coming to Earth, and he knows who Goku is, but only in the Vegas sense, because he's this half brother of Bardock's. And so you could actually get, this could be one method by which you could get Goku kind of interested in his parentage, right?
Yeah.
Because you could have Turles do the whole like, man, you're yeah, Gobi, it's like an XOF to Bardock's Fox. He's oh gosh, what's the name of the character now from Metal Gear Solid 5?
Oh, Gray Fox.
No, not Gray Fox. The bad guy from Metal Gear Solid 5. I'm trying to remember it.
Oh.
He has a really silly Kojima name. But no, it's not Solidus. You're thinking of the earlier games. Skullface, yes, Gobi, Skullface. Turles would be the Skullface to Bardock's punished snake.
Or, in Lion King, he would be Scar.
Yeah.
He would be Scar.
Alright. Austin. What if Pilaf got his wish at the beginning of Dragon Ball? If you think about it, he released King Piccolo, so I think changes would be a bigger ripple effect than people would think. Well, if you got the wish at the beginning of Dragon Ball, you get a similar situation what I did with Goku. What if Goku never met Bulma? Pua would become the emperor of the world. He would have all of this power. He would come up with means to stop Goku and his people. And then basically he would rule the universe. He would rule the planet until Raditz showed up and then he would have killed him. So there you go. Boom.
Because remember, he would be the legal ruler, but he wouldn't be more powerful.
No, but he can easily come up with the technology and resources to be able to stop Goku and contain him.
Yeah, I mean, becoming the legal ruler only means that he's ruler so long as he doesn't allow himself to get deposed. So maybe he has the resources available, at the beginning to stop the OG Dragon Ball crew. But I mean, even the Red Ribbon Army had a lot of resources at their disposal, but couldn't hold out against the unstoppable force that was Son Goku. But even if you wanted to argue, okay, Pilaf holds out, it's not gonna matter once Raditz shows up, because he's a whole other level.
It really doesn't. It really does not.
Yeah.
Alright, okay. Kirby, what if Future Mai and Pilaf the gang took over the world?
Of course!
Well, that, pretty much. If they were able to do that, and somehow if Future Mai and Pilaf, they were still around, and they didn't have that wish, if they did, there wouldn't be much of a world left. They basically were just like, the aftermath of the fight with Trunks 1718 destroys them. So basically, Pilaf just like goes like, yes, I did it! And then everyone goes like, be down to your king and ruler who destroyed the androids. Me!
I find it kind of hilarious because this is specifically saying, like, what if Future Mai and Pilaf? So I'm assuming this is the bad future timeline, right? I can kind of see the Pilaf gang taking over the world, but not using the Dragon Balls to do it, in the sense that, like, Pilaf finally gets what he always wants, to be the king or whatever, to be the ruler of the earth, because what does he do? Well, I mean, it's the apocalypse, which means that everything's very chaotic. There's lots of anarchy. There's no infrastructure. There's no government bodies anymore. Everybody's just kind of segregated into these small, freedom fighter rebellious cells against people like Zamasu or the androids. So what does Pilaf do? He reinstitutes infrastructure and government and everything else. He recreates the kingdom that he was once the emperor of, but now he actually has subjects, and everyone's happy about it because, hey, wouldn't it be nice to not be living in the dilapidated remains of a rail line?
Yeah, but the problem is that he betrays Mai, but Mai survives, and then we have a new series, Mad Mai Fury Road.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Now I'm just picturing Pilaf with the full mask get up of Immortan Joe giving people water.
Alright, crazy red emu. What if Boss Rabbit versus Fat Buu? Boss Rabbit wins. Because, because Buu is this nice guy, but with loads of evil powers, so, Boss Rabbit goes, oh, hello, my name is Boss Rabbit, very nice to meet you. I know, Boo, nice to meet you, shake hands. You shouldn't have done that. What? Boom, turns into carrot. Just turns into a carrot, fight over. That's the truth, because Boss Rabbit would just be very nice, and shake Boo by the hand. Boo turns into a carrot. Mm-hmm. End of fight.
Well, and what's funny about that is that, we already know that it's not like Boo's going to be able to just, brush it off either.
No, because he cannot. He's a carrot.
He's clearly capable of being affected by magic that transforms a person into food, because that's exactly what happens to him against evil Boo. So Boss Carrot comes up, turns him into a carrot, and then bam, he's a carrot, he's out of it. Now the real question is, what happens to Boss Rabbit when he eats the fat Boo carrot?
Well, he just ends up, I would imagine he gets
Majin Rabbit.
Majin Rabbit, yeah. Alright.
So okay, never mind.
We're getting a bit bogged down here. There's lots of really good ones today.
We should probably call a stop to the
we'll probably do that in 5 minutes.
Super chats.
5 minutes, yeah. Alright, Heartless Fang. What if Goku disappeared for longer during the Tournament of Power after his Spirit Bomb, and it was all up to Gohan and Vegeta? I think if that were the case, they probably would have been able to hold their own, because Jiren would have just gone away and gone back to meditating, because all he cared about was Goku, and when Goku was gone, it was just oh, okay, I'm going back to sleep.
You know what? I think that maybe Gohan and Vegeta may even resort Potara fusion against Jiren, because I think Vegeta wouldn't mind fusing with Gohan, and we could have Vehan or, you know,
Vejihan.
like, yeah,
Vejihan.
Vejihan.
Yeah, maybe. Super Spork. What would Dr. Slump Z be like if it was as different as Dragon Ball is from Dragon Ball Z? Well, we would have had a grown up, like a teenage Arale. Arale with an older doctor, and basically just you know, crazy wacky Dr. Slump stuff, but in high school. You know.
Yeah, I think if we're going off of the whole idea of what comedy was for the era as well, you know, Dr. Slump had a younger comedy because obviously the main character was younger. It was targeted at a younger audience. If you provide a time skip and age the character up, especially considering Toriyama's past works, I think what you'd wind up is with a sort of high school era, also parody still, but it would be more ribald humor, you know. It would be a little bit more on the raunchier side, a little bit more adult oriented, just because you know, that's kind of the point at which you get that transition as far as comedy goes.
Yeah.
You'd have a lot of the stuff where you'd probably have some rom-com elements, you'd probably have some of that stuff, but honestly I can't speak to it for any extreme detail just because I'm not super familiar with Dr. Slump. But I think that's probably what I would expect, at least from a Toriyama work.
Yeah. Kirby163, what if Videl and Gohan were childhood friends? Well, you sort of get that in my What If Hercule trained Goku, or trained like Goku. Gohan and Videl are like that. They'd just be really close, they'd train together, and I think Videl would be stronger as a result. So, part 8 of that is coming up in a few weeks, so you'll see the fruits of my labor then.
Yes.
APC. What if Arale was Zarama? She takes time slip and goes back to the beginning of the universe. So if Arale was Zarama the entire time, you think Zeno is this crazy, surreal, like, subversive character. Arale is even more so. Like, there you go. You have to fight fire with fire in a way. You'd have this epic battle between Zeno and Arale, and then they would just win and play games for the rest of eternity.
I would just say GP's patience is endless.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, Arale is kind of the perfect idea of a perfect friend for Zeno.
Yeah.
Right? Because she's a gag character. She can overcome anything that he throws at her.
Yeah, exactly.
Austin's newest super chat is a clarification of his previous what if, so I figure we could say it now. He said he meant more if Goku or someone like Roshi was able to defeat Pilaf after he got his wish.
Well, okay, you just then have maybe them just trying to state the status quo again, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make too much of a difference because it really depends on how long Pilaf is ruling for. You know, if he gets his wish, but then the gang defeats him. You know, then I mean that wouldn't mean very much, especially since it would be like everything would have changed so quick. You know, no real solidification of the new status quo would have taken effect, right? So people would have likely just reverted to what they had before and been like, oh no, Pilaf's been deposed. We're putting King Furry back on the throne.
Yeah, F this city.
Oh, okay. Yushin, thanks for the wee spid. Hype for Zamasu did nothing wrong. Oh, the finale of that. That'll be exciting.
Yeah.
Philip Perkins, what if Broly and Paragus were discovered by the Galactic Patrol during the Namek arc? Well, Broly's power would have been relatively small. I think Paragus at that point would have just been glad to have gotten off that dump off Vampa. He would have found out about everything that happened, basically, and then probably just try and start a new life on another planet. But then again, they were the Saiyans, so I imagine that the Galactic Patrol would probably hold them in custody for a while to try and, like, get, like, you know, it's some kind of, like, justice for all of the people that were slain by the Saiyans. So you can say, oh, well, we got one of them, as, like, stuff like that. As in,
Or on other hand, like he's a tactician. Like he could join the Galactic Patrol. Like,
oh no! He basically would come up with a bargaining strategy, as in like, tell you what, I can give you some good intel about the former Frieza Force, if you basically let me go. They come up with a plea bargain, and it goes.
Yeah, I could see that. Well,
Yeah.
especially if like considering what we know, right? Like I'm fairly certain that the Galactic Patrol had a lot of problems even dealing with the grunts of Frieza's military force, right?
Yeah.
And they all knew that the Saiyans represented a threat as far as fighting forces go. And while Paragus was not a particularly powerful or elite Saiyan, he was on the higher end of Saiyan power level, like power levels as far as canon established power levels go. So their initial people that they might have sent out that interact and make contact with Paragus and Broly would have probably been dealt with or lost to him in battle. And what would have wound up happening is they'd have wound up having to have they'd have to reach some kind of accord, because they can't keep throwing men at Paragus and losing them while also being like, yeah, well, maybe we could get some information on the Frieza Force from this guy.
Yeah. APC, what if Arnold Schwarzenegger was the voice of Android 16? Well, that would have made the whole Terminator analogy absolutely complete. That's the long and short of it, really. It would just be like, okay, there's no doubt about it. The Terminator is being parodied here. Kirby163.
Yeah.
What if future Trunks became
I
a
love
superhuman
birds. Birds are my favorite thing in the world.
Ah yes, I definitely love me some ornithology. You do not harm the birds.
I'm going to be acquiring birds now. I have to get
owls.
And
I
your
have to get
birds.
owls.
Kirby163. What if future Trunks became...
should we?
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry,
yeah,
I wanted to ask you real quick.
All right, super chats are now closed.
Okay.
So everyone, guys, super chats are now closed. We've got some things to go through, so we will be going through all of these now. Thank you for all of your support, regardless. Thank you. Kirby, what if future Trunks became a superhuman god? Well, according to Heroes now, he is a Super Saiyan god. He is now that. So according to Heroes, and now in part 3 of my Trunks and my Stayed in the Future. But people didn't care about that. They cared about my, and I love that. I fed off that. I was like, yes, people don't care.
I haven't watched that installment yet, but I did get a chuckle out of the title card, I gotta say.
Oh yeah, of course. This is now Heroes bait, so of course, yeah, you're gonna like it. You're gonna like it. JD Gamer, what if humans weren't just fodder after Dragon Ball? What if they not learned the Kaioken but also had a transformation similar to Master Roshi? Kaio Henshin from Sophie's What If.
That's Kaio Henshin. That's pretty much exactly Kaio Henshin from my What If. Where
go to Sophie B Powerhouse
Roshi.
channel.
Yep.
Give
Go check out Powerhouse.
Give the cliff notes.
The cliff notes is essentially that Roshi asks King Kai for more details about the Kaioken, because they need some kind of trump card if Goku's going to be out of commission. And him and Krillin go into the hyperbolic time chamber with permission from King Kai, since he's the higher up on the deity scale after Kami, who's deceased. And they combine the full power technique of Roshi and the Kaioken to achieve a transformation that other characters can use, called the Kaio Henshin, and it can be developed and adapted to get higher multipliers, just like the Kaioken does. And that's kind of the short and long of it. And the What If's called What If Krillin Had a Power Up, and I do need to finish it. I've been going through some real life stuff, and that's, go check it out on my channel, Sophie B Powerhouse.
You can definitely check that out for more. Gobi, I don't remember if I asked, but what if Frieza's supernova sent Bardock to the future on Earth at some point between the late 8756 and 761? Oh, so the 5 years after the 23rd tournament. Well, basically, I would say if that happened, he probably would have wound up being really strong and then found out, like, that, people mistaking him for Goku. And then, who's this Goku? And they take him to Goku. And then there's this whole situation. Like, he say, oh, hey, you're, like... Because he would have, like, seen Kakarot, so he would have known exactly what he looked like. And then he'd probably say, oh, hey, cool. I got this, like, vision thing. You're gonna stop this guy called Frieza. Okay, out. Peace. Like, he'd just been like, okay, cool. You're alive. Great. Okay, now, go stop Frieza. Okay, bye. Because, again, people think Bardock is this, like, really sweet guy who wants to be with his son. No! For the longest time, he thought Kakarot was useless. Like, he's not a caring father. He really isn't. I mean, he just wants to know that Kakarot is there. The premonition is true. He'd basically just be like, oh, I want a ship. Get me out. Get me off here. Like,
and even if you did want to try and, like, justify him being a nicer guy, since he's got a little bit of a softer personality in DBS Broly, I really don't think that he and Goku would still work as a family unit, because ultimately Saiyans really weren't like that anyway. And Bardock was already not a stay-at-home dad kind of person, and he's not the kind of guy who's going to settle down for a job. So he'd be going off doing his own thing, trying to find his own way. Probably do a bit of a vision quest / training bit like Vegeta did when Vegeta was trying to achieve Super Saiyan. And Gine would be the only one who was really interested in reforging some connection with Goku, but Goku has no impetus for caring about establishing a connection between him and his birth parents, because he had a dad essentially. His grandpa Gohan is very much his kind of like Uncle Ben, you know.
Yeah.
It's he may be called grandpa, but he raised Goku. He is the father figure to Goku. And that's simply the truth of the matter.
Yeah, it is. Fact of the matter. I mean, people want to see more, but you just got to be realistic there. The Trickster.
Yeah.
What if Goku had accepted Frieza's offer to join him and become his minion? This happened before Frieza went 50%, I think. Okay, one sec. Excuse me, that was a bit of a sneeze there. Okay, basically, if Goku had just accepted it, the fight would have been over. Goku would have just gone with him. And then basically this probably would have been like a sneaky plan. Like, just catch Frieza unaware and then completely just try and, like, shoot him off into space. Then Frieza just goes, nice try, monkey, but I can breathe in space. So.
But space is a vacuum.
Yeah. Pretty much that, I think that. Heartless Fang. What if you needed magic to go beyond Super Saiyan 1? Gohan inherited magic from the Ox King, so Super Saiyan 2 was possible. Magic lessons from Barba to get stronger?
That would have been interesting, at least in the sense that we would have gotten... Well, and we would have gotten more magic representation. But I'm not entirely sure about tying the Super Saiyan transformations to the magic. If you're going to use it, make it a bit more interesting, you know? Because just having him, like, have magical abilities, right? Having, like, magical energy, but then using it more or less just to achieve a fighting transformation is less interesting than the other things that people can do with magic, you know? The kinds of things that Babidi did, the kind of things that other magic characters have done throughout the series, or have the potential to do through the series. There are ways that you can get around having to go fisticuffs if you have a means to do so, and magic could be that solution. So Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, because he has magic powers, okay, a little bit more prevalence for magic, but not the best way of using a magic inclusion.
Could be,
in my opinion.
Could be utilized more resourcefully in a way. I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next one. Paparazzi, what if Buu decided to open a dojo? Kung Buu. It would be Kung Buu.
I teach everyone Boo-Foo! Or Kung Buu!
Kung Buu.
Kung Buu.
I said, okay, first lesson. Can anyone stretch their arms? Oh.
It's Budo, the way of Buu.
I Budo. Oh.
Arale and Panda as his mascot, and we have Kung Buu Panda.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Oh. Oh, I have. Papa Archer again. What if Trunks went to assassinate Gero instead of giving Goku the heart medicine? I'm surprised. That actually is a good question. I wouldn't be surprised if that didn't cross his mind. That he basically decided to go like, yeah, okay, I'm just gonna stop this guy. So,
See, here's the thing: is I think part of the reason why he didn't consider it was because they had no idea if Gero was alive or dead. Because, for all we know, especially given the fact that we know that Gero was smart enough to have a supercomputer taking charge of of cells development, right? And Trunks is like, these androids weren't a thing in my timeline, but we know that numerically speaking, 19 and 20 had to have been developed after 17 and 18. That leads me to believe that somewhere in Trunks' timeline, in the Bad Future timeline, Gero never really had the opportunity to develop the energy absorption technology that resulted in him making the body for 19 and then converting himself into Android 20. So he likely died. And so future Trunks and future Bulma probably didn't have any idea that Gero would have been alive to be assassinated. You know, they could have easily thought that the androids were more or less a remnant that woke up one day, right, and started rampaging to try and fulfill their orders or just cause general chaos, instead of actually being on orders from Gero. And it ultimately wouldn't have mattered much anyways, because I mean, everyone already knows that there are a couple of teenagers who do whatever the heck they please. They even if they did know that they might have been able to go back in time to assassinate Gero, it might not have struck them as important, because 17 and 18 don't obey Gero.
yeah, well, I mean, again, there are just so many permutations you could have. There are lots of ways it could go. Jumping Wars.
Yeah.
Continuing on from the last time I asked about Kitsune. This is the idea of like Saiyans were derived from foxes. How would you handle the power boost that happens when they get new tails? I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, the way that Naruto does it actually makes kind of sense. As in, like, just more demonic, more magical power, but also harder to control. So basically, you lose more of yourself into the possession of the Kitsune demon within you. So I imagine...
And you have the self-damaging aspects of it, too.
Oh, yeah, that too. So I guess, really that. Dev Dog Productions? What if Goku could see the future since birth? Okay. Well, Kakarot was born after Bardock got clairvoyance, but supposing that, he got it. Then Goku would just have these really confusing visions that he would have no idea how they were until he got a little older and figured it out that what he was seeing was the future. It would take a long time for him to understand it. But I feel like if he did, it probably would be like nothing really useful at the time, but just enough to give him a guide. Like, just as a guide to going, not to give him actual useful information. Because they were mainly just visions. Like, visions that he did not understand. So, I guess it would just be sort of clues, maybe? Connor Moffat. What if Super Saiyan Rage is an alternate version of Super Saiyan 3 for half-saiyans, and that there are other emotional base forms for half-saiyans? To be honest, I think that's a fair point. Like, because I don't think Super Saiyan 3 is possible for half-saiyans in canon. I mean, people will say, oh, well, you made Rancha Super Saiyan 3. Well, I imagine probably she had the prodigious form, and to be honest, I needed a lampshader in part 11 of Raditz. And basically, she gets Super Saiyan 3 briefly, she's really good at it, but then she realizes, oh, the stamina boost, okay, I'm not using that again. So I needed a lampshade her, definitely. So I think Super Saiyan Rage, I think it's a fair assumption. It's 2.5 at least.
See, I would argue that there's actually less of a reason to not have the half Saiyans having the Super Saiyan 3, because of the fact that we actually know that their S cells are more potent on account of the fact that, Vegeta and Goku and Gohan, these characters are all Super Saiyan like 1 and 2 or high, or higher, when they have these children. And so that affects how the children are born. I mean, Toriyama himself has done the midichlorian thing by introducing the concept of S cells, and although their genetics are mixed, we also know that half Saiyans, at least it's been declared before, that they tend to have more power potential than the pure-blooded Saiyans do. It's just that the show keeps reverting back to giving Goku and Vegeta everything, so people tend to forget that.
Okay,
so honestly, yeah, I think that they'd be more likely to go Super Saiyan 3.
Okay.
I also have one more thing to add. Maybe Rage is like a form that's kind of a perfected version of Free with God Key. It's like Free without its drawbacks.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Super Saiyan 3.
Because they have better S cells, so they don't need Free.
Well, I know about Gotenks, but I feel like the Metamora infusion had something to do with boosting them up. But anyway, let's move on. Paparacha, what if Chi-Chi and Ox were the galactic tyrants and Frieza and Cold with the royalty of Fire Mountain? Well, it would have been very weird if Frieza asking Goku to marry him. That would have been certainly interesting. But Chi-Chi, basically Ox is like the very doting father who thinks Chi-Chi's gone too far in becoming the galactic tyrant. So basically, Mecha Chi-Chi comes down and Ox goes, I'm so sorry, everyone, but she's gone out of control ever she's becoming a half-robot. We just wanted to be galactic tyrants in peace. We don't mean to cause trouble. And then,
I'm sorry, everyone, but I'm suffering right now, and so you all must too. Child Frieza wearing Bulma's OG Dragon Ball outfit. You're welcome.
Romantic Gero.
Bulma or Chi-Chi style outfit?
Frieza in the metal bikini, everyone. You're very welcome for that mental image.
What if Piccolo received an infinite energy engine? How is up to you. Well, if Piccolo received that would just make him completely broken, because he would have all the infinite energy, and in that fight with 17, he probably would have won against 17 in terms of actually keep going. The only reason he was struggling with 17 is because 17 could keep going, whereas Piccolo couldn't. So Piccolo with an infinity engine would have been enough to stop 17, just through sheer attrition. Guardian Tree? What if Namekian stayed on Earth after Frieza and Guru fused with Kami after passing the Dragon Balls to Mori? Any plans for what if Piccolo didn't save Gohan? That what if, I don't really know. I kind of I'm a bit stumped with that one. But as for the Dragon Balls and Mori there, oh my god, it would just make them even more convenient. It'd just be like Goku just goes over to them and is like, hey Mori, do you mind if I use the Dragon Balls, please? Just like, they're right there. So basically it would have just been convenient. So the stakes would have been even lower. They needed to at least put some distance between them. JD Gamer. What if human DNA acted as a catalyst when mixed with any other life form? And what if Piccolo had a spawn and then mated with Bra, giving you a tribrid?
And the spawn mated with Bra.
Oh, sorry, okay.
Yeah. So basically, Piccolo has a son who dates Bra.
I guess.
Interesting.
Brian, the half Namekian. I remember that.
Brian, the half Namekian.
No. There was an animation this guy who makes a half Namekian Saiyan you're Brian. That is before he fused with Piccolo and he grew pubes. It's like, that's all right. I'm the Super Namekian Super Saiyan times 20. No, Brian, please have mercy upon Lord Frieza. It's too late, Frieza. It's like, yes, it's a YouTube animation. It's so stupid. It's just this self-insertion character who is Namekian who's fused with Goku, who's called Brian.
Why?
I don't know.
Just why? Oh my gosh.
I don't know. It's just, I think it was just for the Namekian thing, and it's just like, everyone goes like, oh yeah, Brian, we're here, we're saved. It's like, and then just Frieza's groveling at the end of it. It's just Find like
Well-
look for it on YouTube. It's so ridiculous.
And just to kind of clarify more specifically with regard to the question, I'm not entirely sure if Bulla or Bra, however you want to pronounce it, would be interested in somebody with any kind of mentality expressed by Piccolo after all of his character development. So you'd have to make this character, this theoretical, hypothetical spawn of Piccolo. He'd need to be like a bad boy again somehow, like maybe a character who's really like, he wants to be the new Demon King, but he's not very good at it.
I'm sorry, but I imagine a teenage Piccolo with with a lot of like a dressed like a punk essentially with a purple mohawk. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Oh jeez. Okay, alright, that's kind of funny. Alright, Paparacha, what if Goku learned a technique to make portals instead of instant transmission? He probably would have ended up using them quite a bit. Ah, yeah, Creative Dart. That animation's from Dorkly. Oh, okay, Dorkly. Yeah, of course. But if Goku had portals, he'd probably be able to use them in a more smarter way. So basically similar to what Janemba did. Just like, kind of like, Goku creates a portal in front of anyone who's throwing a punch at him. Basically, Cell tries to punch him. He creates a portal. And basically ends up like, Cell hitting himself in the back. Hey, Cell, stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself.
Oh my gosh.
He just used that to try and deflect. So basically, the guy would just end up punching themselves to death. I am for anime. What if Bulla was born first before Trunks? Would that change the history? Not really.
We've had that question before in the past.
Yeah, we have.
It doesn't actually change all that much, apart from perhaps depending upon where you fall on your interpretation of Trunks's interaction and relationship with Gohan and stuff like that. Like you might be able to say like, if it was Bulla instead of Trunks, you might have a little bit more of a romantic angle with that from the story perspective, because young girls are more inclined to develop crushes on their sort of mentor characters in anime. So you might have some interesting interactions when it comes to the interaction between Bulla and the young Gohan in the present time, as opposed to the bad future. A lot more than you really get in the canon as far as interactions between Trunks and Gohan go. But I don't think it would change all that much, because ultimately the child that would be born in that bad future would still be raised the same way. They'd still be in this post-apocalyptic setting with a single parent, future Bulma, and Gohan as their mentor. And I think for the most part it would only be superficial changes, maybe a little bit more intensity as far as a faux romantic angle with a precocious crush perhaps, but not enough to actually warrant any significant change.
Right. Okay.
Apart from maybe playing up Vegeta's sexism in the past, because Vegeta's the only like Saiyan character that we really see, and it's kind of assumed that it's because he's royalty and they have a different dynamic than the hodgepodge rabble of Saiyan society. But he's the only Saiyan character we really see that has any kind of sort of casual sexism. So maybe he'd be a little bit more sexist towards a daughter than he would a son. But I really don't think it changes a whole lot.
No, I think that's fair. Paparacha, what if Frieza didn't recall all the Saiyans before destroying Vegeta, intending to reduce their numbers and demoralizing them instead of wiping them all out? Oh, if he decided to just to break their spirit... Sorry?
Funny they ask that,
Oh, what do you mean?
Oh, they will see in few weeks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and a what if. That'll be coming soon.
Yeah.
Gobi, what if future Gohan was sent to age 778 or 779 in the present timeline, after his last battle with the androids? So basically, if he was sent to Super, it'd be a very conflicting time. Everyone would still be alive. He'd basically be meeting with himself, and probably he'd have a heart-to-heart with himself, and then basically just like, you know, they could learn from one another. Like, future Gohan learns the art of the conference. And then
future Gohan winding up. Oh man.
And, yeah.
Go ahead.
And then our Gohan basically learns how to actually, you know, be able to juggle two things at once.
I feel like future Gohan would kind of be at a bit of a hard point as far as his life goes. If he hops into the time machine and then accidentally winds up in an alternative future instead of the past, like was his goal, especially if he's like, crap, my entire intention was to go back in time to change the past, I need to go back in time again, and then Beerus shows up and destroys the time machine because you're not supposed to be traveling through time. And I think future Gohan would have a little bit of a divide by zero moment there with the sort of misery that accompanies being stuck in a different timeline. And I don't think I have a hard time wondering whether or not, like, because Gohan in the bad future became a very hard person, you know, because he had to struggle so much, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like it would put him at odds with his alternative, you know, like Dragon Ball Super counterpart. I feel like personality wise, he'd probably get along more with Vegeta, ironically.
Well, that's true in terms of, like, you know, being relatable. Okay, no, I would agree with that. Yeah. Grave Robin Jake, what if Piccolo being a Namekian spat up an egg instead of training Gohan during the Saiyan arc? How different the series would have been without Piccolo's influence upon Gohan? A rival for Gohan? Well, the thing was, though, you have to remember, Piccolo at that age is only 8. He's still very young for a Namekian. Like, granted, they become mature quite quickly. Or he did, at the very least. But I'm pretty sure that you cannot be, you cannot spin out eggs when you're less than 10 years old. Because he's like 8 at the beginning of Z. But, okay, saying that he was able to. I imagine he probably would have actually had them, like, had done that recently. And then just say, hey, you know what? You got this person to be with. They'll toughen you up. Like, they'll be my eyes and ears. Reporting to me about, your progress. But then again, it would have kind of diluted Piccolo and Gohan's relationship. But I feel like if he did, then maybe they might have gotten on. Like, pretty much like, hey, if the son of Piccolo ends up even less evil than Piccolo Jr., then Gohan and he would become friends, and Piccolo tries to understand, what is this thing they call friendship? I don't understand. And then eventually he does, I get it now, friend, as he dies. His last word is friend. So, a much more dramatic ending, certainly. Frost the Hobbit and White Lion, what's your favourite Drunken Fist character? Master Roshi in the Broly movie. He's my favourite Drunken Fist character. There you go. DevDog Productions, what if Future Gohan got episode of Bardock and sent to the present timeline? We actually just recorded that. We actually just said that. But basically, if he was stuck there, Beerus destroyed the time machine, or it basically said you can't move any further, he probably would have been a fish out of water and probably been more relatable with Vegeta, as Sophie suggested, which is a very good point.
Now, if you say, what if Future Gohan got episode of Bardock, right? Like, are you implying that he goes even further back in the past in that sense? Because episode of Bardock was where he went to, like, the progenitor origin time of the Saiyan race, right? So, like, if he gets sent even further back to early Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball, there's two options you have here. One, he winds up messing up the timeline irreparably because he can't stop himself from trying to streamline things. Or, and this is something I figure is more true to Gohan as opposed to say Future Trunks, like in your What If, Masako. I feel like Gohan is being a bit more intellectual, smarter, and aware of how splitting timelines works, would be more like, oh no, I am gonna have to sit here and wait. If I can't, I have to either fix the time machine to get to the correct point that I was aiming for, or I have to wait everything out and not interfere at all, because if I do, I will be permanently ruining things.
Yeah, again, there's always the things you gotta be careful with. Podo,
Yeah.
what if Cell used his tail for other purposes? Oh god. Oh god. Oh. It's like...
Really?
Well, you basically get the thing that the Imperfect Cell had with Nicky Town.
Oh, hello, Mr. Cell.
It's like,
No.
oh yeah, baby, what are you doing tonight? You just get that. You would just get that, really. And that's for... That's lime. That's straight up lime right there. Oh my. It gotta go. Paparacha. What if Piccolo and Beerus developed a proxy rivalry in regards to the parts Saiyan little girls they each bonded with? Oh, it's like... Oh, and like Beerus like... Hey, Namekian, I have a question to ask of you, but you do not tell this with your Saiyan friends. It's like, yeah, what is it? How do you change this thing they call, diaper? You can't be serious. It's like, you just do this? Not bad, Namekian. You're more useful than I thought. Basically, they just do this illicit, babysitting course that Piccolo's just like, and then you just do them like this. You just pat them on the back, and then they belch. Okay. Ah, yes, excellent. Okay, I'm taking notes now. And it's like, okay, Beerus. So, okay, I just want you to picture the scene. So, Bulla has a bad dream, saying that there are demons, there are bad people in her dream. What do? And I destroy anyone who would dare trying to harm the little babe. No one should ever do that. Okay, that's a little bit harsh, but I see your heart's in the right place. Okay.
See, now I'm just picturing the situation where Pan wakes up in the middle of the night and says that the boogeyman's in her closet, and it's like the scene in Major Pain when he pulls out his gun and starts shooting into the closet. So Beerus just turns to the closet and just hurls a key blast into the closet. If he's still in there, he's not happy.
and you can see an actual monster crawling out. I think it would be even more hilarious,
No, Piccolo said, you didn't hit anything. Someone crawls out, and then Beerus goes, didn't I? Yeah, okay. Connor Moffat, what if Goku Black had a Belfast accent? Oh, Connor, I apologize, but my Northern Irish accent is a little bit iffy. Now, future Trunks, I'm going to show you, what it's like to... I don't know. Sorry. All I know is now is Noi. Noi. Sorry. I'm sorry.
You had to deliver it so robotically.
I really did. It's not like an Irish accent. It's a lot more abrasive and a lot more confrontational. But
my favorite Goku Black.
It's certainly more aggressive.
my favorite Goku Black still Scouse.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, hey, I'm Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black. I'll fucking deck you. You come near me, I'm gonna rip your nipples off. It's like, hey Vegeta, if you come over here, I'm gonna twat you.
If only Trev were here. Okay. Let's move on.
All of our friends are going to hate us.
What if Gohan trained Videl like Piccolo trained him? Oh, like, there is a what if that I know that I want to do with Sophie and have. There is a what if Videl trained. Videl trained.
Yes.
So basically, we want to do that, but we want to really sit down and do that, like give it the proper attention that it deserves. So we are working on something like that.
Dodge.
And so maybe we'll have that in for like our new batch of what ifs coming soon.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we'll
absolutely.
workshop
I'd be
that.
down.
We'll definitely do that.
Because Videl's got a ton of power potential, and we've discussed it a million times
Yeah.
on this very stream, you know.
And any chance
So-
to draw Videl properly muscular and like determined and can kick ass, like sure, like gives the Videl, that deserves.
Yes, she deserves a lot better than the narrative that was given to her by Toriyama and Toyotaro. So I think a Videl training What If is definitely in the future,
Yeah.
and we're gonna do our best to make sure that she gets good rep.
Yeah, no, we will definitely take this task very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. What if Goku tapped into the power of creation, becoming a Super Saiyan Kai? His key literally creating physical objects. Oh, well then he would never need to eat again. Say, hey Chi-Chi, look at this! He creates groceries. I'll never have to buy food again! That's what he'd do, he'd do that.
Now, question: if he's now a Kai and is ostensibly the most powerful Kai in that universe, does that mean that he now has to take the position of Supreme Kai from Kaioshin? And how would Shen feel about this?
It's a good question, but knowing him, he'd be like, Goku, I'm the Supreme Kai. Okay, never mind. It's like, yeah, he would try and be like, he'd be happy for Goku, but then would just be like, cower. Okay. Tattered Shield. What if Cell was created as a failsafe? Well, he sort of was created as a failsafe in a way. Like, he was meant to be the ultimate creation if the other androids didn't work. Or to act as a last resort if 17 and 18 couldn't do the job. To be the final creation. So, it actually was.
I mean, to be fair, like, Gero, he wanted to test him out anyway. He would, like, okay, 17, okay, you are done, kid. Now, let's see if he works.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, he does work.
What do you know? He does work.
Yeah, simultaneously the next step above 17 and 18, but also security against 17 and 18.
Yeah, ultimate insurance policy.
Mm-hmm.
Paparazzi. What if Pan and Goten swap roles? Pan being the daughter of Goku and Chi-Chi, and Goten the son of Gohan and Videl. Oh, well, Goten would still be the nice, lovable boy, and Pan would have been the daughter of Goku. Again, I feel like, because whenever they say, oh, what if Goku had a daughter, there'd be more of a conflict between Chi-Chi and Goku about, this girl's not going to become a warrior, and all that stuff. It would have caused a lot of conflict in that household. Whereas with Goten, still would have been loved by parents that would have loved him. So, Goten would have had it pretty easy. Whereas Pan would have been in a sort of a broken household, in a way. So, very much like loads of conflict there. Paparazzi. What if none of the androids could fly? Could still learn to fly, but it's not out of the box feature. Well, they would certainly need that van. Like, or if 16 was the only one who could fly.
They couldn't use the bad way. They couldn't fly.
Yeah, so basically it's like, I wish I could fly the bird way. It's like acquiring flight.
It would at least offer an explanation beyond teenage petulance as to why they choose to drive to Mount Paozu, but honestly, if Gero hadn't implemented that feature yet, it would have been a huge oversight because flight was introduced in OG Dragon Ball. So like him not being able to reverse engineer that so that it comes as an out of the box feature, that would have been a massive oversight on his part, especially since all of the characters by this point in the story are flying. Even in the Saiyan saga, So he would have definitely had to have included that. If they had to learn it or didn't have it, like you don't realize until you try to picture, like, okay, think about it for a moment, all of the fights that you see post Saiyan Saga, right? And now try to imagine any one of the characters that participate in those fights not being able to fly. And suddenly you're just like, the entire fight dynamic changes. So the androids would have been at a huge disadvantage.
No, it would have been a major hindrance for them. Because, yeah, they would have been completely at the mercy of the Dragon Team in a way. Like, they couldn't get far away or anything like that. Dark Snake. Hey, Mosca, how you doing? I think I'm doing well, thanks. I think we're all doing well. Today I wanted to know when will Bulma train like Goku, female Goku, and Dragon Ball R&R come out. Hopefully we'll have R&R coming out this month, if not October. Bulma train like Goku, I've got that on the docket for the 5th of October at the moment. Female Goku, maybe sometime late October, early November. So I can give you some good answers there. Ray Relford, what if Frieza and Cooler got along and worked together? Well, if they got along or worked together temporarily, I feel like they would have been a good combination. Like, Cooler would have been the dry leader and Frieza would have been the wet leader. As in, like, Cooler would have been the one back at the throne room overseeing things from his throne. Whereas Frieza would have been the one going around their domain and enforcing the rule of law. I can imagine.
Yeah, and I think personality-wise, it would have still been a very red Oni, blue Oni situation, with Cooler being the one who's a lot more level-headed and approaches things from a more logical perspective, whereas Frieza's the one who kind of lets his emotions run rampant and gets a little bit too intense.
I'll say. Gobi. What if there was an alternative demonic corrupted form of Super Saiyan God caused by an impure heart or pure evil heart during the ritual? Well, we sort of get that with Rosé. Like, Rosé, we'd say, is like the corrupted God Key. Like, instead of blue, we get pink, or we get Rosé.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it's just God Key, like, you know, pure God Key with Kai Key. You know.
Kind of a fallen angel... Lucifer Morningstar twist on the concept of Super Saiyan Blue, essentially.
Yeah, sort of. And I like that. I like the fact that it just wasn't Blue Goku. It was just it was Rosé. Yeah, and of course the British accent. We mustn't forget that. Makes you have to have a British accent because hey, if Tom Ellis's Lucifer has taught us anything, Lucifer has a British accent.
And after all, a rose by any other name is still Goku.
Huh. Different timeline, same results, eh, best buddy?
Fuck you!
Yeah. Dark Snake. What if Goku and Vegeta's roles were switched with their wives during Dragon Ball, with each keeping their personality? So basically, was switched with their wives during Dragon Ball. Oh, so basically Vegeta had Chi-Chi, Goku had Bulma. Think?
Okay, no. So if Goku and Vegeta's roles were switched with their wives, that would have meant that it would have been Vegeta on the journey to find the Dragon Balls, with Chi-Chi being the one raised by Son Gohan, and Goku would have been the son of the Ox King.
Yeah.
And Bulma would have been the Saiyan Princess Invader.
Oh, okay. That would have been interesting.
Kind of breaks my brain a little bit.
Yeah, you need to kind of like tippy-toe around. I think that's how it works.
Yeah.
But I guess let's make a note of that. Actually, maybe we could do like a fun one-shot with that.
Yeah. I'm not entirely certain how well it would work if the idea is to also have them keep their personalities. But like, that is a very interesting way of looking at a character role swap.
Well, we'll definitely make
Bulma would be all your strawberries belong to us.
Yeah.
Vegeta briefs. Son Chi-Chi. I don't know if Chi-Chi has a last name, but I guess Goku would just be Goku, and then
Princess
you'd
Bulma.
have Bulma, princess of all Saiyans.
Yeah.
And if she did have and if Trunks was a daughter, she'd be Princess Trunks.
Oh my gosh.
Alright, Louis Suazo. What if Vegito was a unique prodigy Saiyan? So, okay, Vegito was just a normal guy. Well, technically, Brian Drummond in the Ocean dub did the only voice for Vegito. So they didn't do the fusion thing in the Canadian dub. It was just one. Yeah, it was
I
just
love
Brian
me some
Drummond.
Brian Drummond.
Yeah, so if you
Brian
look it up,
Drummond is
Vegito-
my Vegeta.
Yeah, the Vegito was
Yeah,
voiced
yeah.
by Brian Drummond.
Yeah, there were some interesting things done with the Ocean dub voices, especially when they kept on having to change Goku's voice actor. So you wound up with Kirby Moro eventually as Goku, which was really weird for anyone who had ever watched the dub of Inuyasha.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
but yeah,
Let's go back to the actual thing. So
yeah.
if he was a unique prodigy Saiyan, he'd be a cocky beggar, pretty much. He'd just be really cocky, very arrogant. Pretty much perfect for a Saiyan, to be honest.
Here's the thing. What's the purpose behind contemplating Vegito as a separate character? Because when you really get down to it, Vegito isn't all that different from say a Vegeta or a Goku, you know. I mean, he really is sort of the arrogance and power of both characters kind of cranked up to 11. So if you have Vegito as this separate character, right, to where like he exists as this separate entity, I feel like there's nothing to him, because as a fusion, first off, the entirety of his character is based around the characters of the two people that make up the fusion. So there's no backstory for him. There's no greater purpose behind him. There's no greater narrative to him. And if you have to make one up, well, at that point you're just making an OC, but calling them Vegito. So I'm not entirely certain what the appeal is in that regard, because it's like, if you want that sort of character, Vegeta and Goku are already right there, and they can be manipulated to have that sort of personality if necessary. I mean, shoot, Vegito could very well be the sort of personality Goku might have had if he hadn't hit his head.
Yeah, no, that could have easily happened. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, Paparacha. What if Super Saiyan was retconned into a super technique any species could use, but Saiyans had an affinity for? Maybe Kaba explains the tingly back. Also, okay, so it's just like a super form. Just a super form of anything. So any being in the universe can like have an ultimate power. So it just means that Saiyan, you know, this form, the Super Saiyan variation is just the most efficient.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess maybe it's something that, you know, they could find interesting or something. As in, like, it just means it gives everyone a different power boost, or maybe they have to use that power more resourcefully in different ways. Perhaps, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it would make all of the characters have an even playing field as far as transformation options go, right? So characters that kept up with their training might be able to achieve this state, right? So one of the issues we see a lot with the human characters, for example, is that they kind of stagnate, and they either stop training or they get complacent. Yamcha stops training. He's devoted a bit more to his baseball career and stuff like that, especially after, you know, Bulma breaks up with him. And Krillin decides to settle down after the Android saga, starts a family with 18. But there's a character that I think would really benefit from the opportunity to achieve a super form, and that's Tien. As far as humans go, Tien Shin Han is the character who has never stopped being about perfecting himself as far as being a martial artist goes, and being a fighter, being a warrior. And while he loses a lot of while we lose a lot of him in the narrative because he just kind of goes off and does his own thing, if he had shown up in like the Cell Saga, right, for that bit where he starts doing like the Shinki Koho against Semi-Perfect Cell, for instance, like if he had shown up in that arc, and instead of doing the whole like, okay, I'm going to be here for like one episode, I'm going to be Shinki Kohoing Semi-Perfect Cell until eventually I succumb to the energy drain. What if instead he showed up and everyone was like, Tien Shin Han, what are you doing here? You're not going to be able to do anything. And he's like, oh, won't I? And then he transforms like the other Super Saiyan characters do. Mm-hmm. And it's this like huge thing. It would have been epic.
No, it would have definitely caught people's eyes. I mean, don't get me wrong. It would certainly have been like, oh, okay. That would have certainly caught people's eyes. And definitely food for thought. Definitely food for thought there. Okay, next one is the Trickster from Joseph Joestar Requiem Bub. What if Super Saiyan 4 is potentially a disease? Oh, kind of like almost like it corrupts the mind, like it's a primal disease or something. It like changes the psyche of a person, makes them more feral. So more exposure to it kind of brings back your wild side, potentially resetting Goku's like bump on the head or something like that. Potentially,
and it sort of like it adds that sort of like darkness to you mentally.
Yeah.
So like if Super Saiyan 4 is a disease, like that makes you more aggressive. It makes you more prone to the more evil or sinful or however you want to describe it. Acts of somebody who has less of a moral compass, and you become more of like this. You take on more of the wild properties of the Ozaru. You become domineering and hyper territorial and aggressive, and it would be interesting because then the idea would be you would want the Super Saiyan 4 character to be the primary antagonist of that arc, right? To where it's like they're the threat. So you'd have almost like a baby Vegeta scenario, like if you were to get rid of baby, right? And instead have it be something like Vegeta or Goku, one or the other. I would go with Goku because it would harken back to the whole he was a wild child until he hit his head. You go with Goku, and he's got this kind of like disease thing flaring up that's causing him to transform gradually into this Super Saiyan 4 persona, right? And so the idea there is not only that they have to find a method of defeating him, but they have to defeat him and they have to basically cure him of this disease. So you'd have Bulma working on in the background, trying to develop something to fix the actual like disease portion of it. You'd probably have some of the side characters, the humans, Pan, that sort of thing. They'd be like going around the universe for clues on what it might be, looking into like the history of the Saiyan race, maybe even doing some time travel. And heck, that could even explain, like, if you weren't going to do the DB Super thing, right, and you wanted to contemplate like Super Saiyan God, because I know that back before we got DB Super and we saw what Super Saiyan God was, people had a lot of theories about Super Saiyan God, and maybe it was what was going to be the retooled, reimagined Super Saiyan 4. And so if the character of like Yamoshi was the Super Saiyan God, but Super Saiyan God was actually just a symptom, was a clarification or a misnomer of this Super Saiyan 4 disease that Yamoshi had. And they go back in time and they learn like all the specifics about it so that they can help Goku in the present. That I think might be a fun arc.
Okay. Yeah. Doc, oh, by the way, Chief Lurch, it's your birthday. Happy birthday to you, Chief.
Happy birthday to...
Yeah. Dark Snake.
Happy birthday!
This is just a suggestion for the what if Bomber train like Goku and the Ginyu Force with Frieza's Power Rangers. What would their mechs look like? I would love to see what it would look like. Well, unfortunately, they're not going to have mechs. That's the thing. But Bulma is important to how they fight together. But I imagine going forward, I imagine that Gero would definitely have a mech. Gero would have some kind of mech. Something like that. Papa Archer, what if 2 cells from 2 separate timelines came back and absorbed each absorbed one android? You'd have 2 semi-perfect cells. There you go. You'd have 2 semi-perfect cells.
Which honestly would make it a much easier fight if Goku and Gohan come out of a hyperbolic time chamber capable of taking on a hypothetical perfect cell, and instead they're faced with 2 semi-perfect cells. I mean, I feel like the battle would be very one-sided in favor of the Saiyans here.
Oh yeah, no, certainly. Papa Roger again. What about Dr. Slump GT, Dr. Slump Super? Okay, you'd have Arale as an adult, maybe with a kid of her own, decides to build her own android kid. And then there'd be this, god of destruction wanting to find the most destructive android in the universe. And it's Arale. Basically, Arale equals Goku.
Dr. Slump GT would be adult Arale with their child and or grandchild, right?
Yeah.
Being reverted. Maybe something happens to her body, and she has to revert back to storing her mind in her childhood body, and then they have to go on a quest to recover her adult form some way. There's GT Dr. Slump for you.
Yeah. No, that is yeah. Crazy Redemu. What if Pan was born with inherited potential unleashed? Potentially, that's why probably she is able to do all that and breathe in space. She basically has the ultimate power within her, which is always my belief that Pan is the legendary Super Saiyan, according to Super.
Yes.
That is canon.
I agree with that. Yeah, that's gotta be canon.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be. Koru, what if Vegeta respected Goku earlier post Namek? Oh, well, basically, he sort of started respecting Goku after he went Super Saiyan, like, Kakarot, you old dog! Like, he became the Super Saiyan. He sort of did. But basically, from that reaction, he genuinely respected Goku more, then he would he would say Kakarot, and he would never be like wanting to be the one to kill Kakarot. He'd just be the one to try and surpass him as a friendly rival.
See, I think the thing about Vegeta's disrespect with regard to Goku is because of a combination of both Goku's grating personality, because Goku can have a very annoying personality, and also just the fact that there's a lot of circumstance that tends to make Goku reflect poorly upon Goku at the most inopportune times, right?
Yeah.
So it's like Vegeta gets respect for Goku when he goes Super Saiyan, but then he also winds up staying out in space to do who knows what, which leads Vegeta to be like, crap, he's probably out there getting all super powerful and stuff. I need to go get super powerful. And then Vegeta comes back, and what happens? Oh, well, Goku's rendered, he's knocked on his butt from the heart virus. So Vegeta's sitting there like, you got totally owned by a virus. And then of course, then later on, Goku surpasses him, and so he gets kind of upset about that. And then Goku goes and sacrifices himself, which removes Vegeta's rival, which ticks him off. And then come the Buu saga, he's even more upset and passes that annoyance on to Goku because of his annoyance at both Gohan and Goku offing himself back into Cell Saga. And then he's further angry because of the whole Super Saiyan 3 thing. And I imagine that some of that disrespect comes from the fact that Vegeta sacrificed himself when Goku had Super Saiyan 3 in the back pocket the whole time. It it makes his sacrifice totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
So circumstance just paints Goku very badly in Vegeta's eyes every single saga.
Yeah. Oh, right. Timothy Frazier. What if Goku has a twin sister and both of them were sent to a different pods? Goku landed at Grandpa Gohan's, and his sister landed at Capture Corp and were adopted by Dr. Briefs and used the technology. Okay, so basically, if, like, Bulma found Goku and was like, oh, this is where I come from, I don't really remember. Oh, and hey, you sound like something that happened with my sister. Like, or, and basically, they then meet through circumstance, they look really familiar, and then when the Saiyan things happen, they then both realize that they're brother and sister, and that basically is like, what? That would have made the revelation even wilder. So basically, the revelation about Saiyans, that would have been even crazier.
Well, and you think about it like, if Goku has a sister that lands at Capsule Corp, she's obviously going to grow up more likely to be an intellectual because, Brief's family, that's how they live. They're inventors, they're scientists, they're researchers. And Bulma, Dr. Briefs, they're all smart. So she would have had a lot of combat potential that sat unrealized while she was busy honing her mind. Whereas Goku, he wound up being taught martial arts by Gohan and so on and so forth. If he meets his sister, then they would have a lot to learn from each other because they would complete this this circuit of missing information essentially, because Goku is less he's not book smart at all. He's very socially inept, but he's very, very skilled combat wise, whereas his sister would probably be in the opposite position, and they would learn from each other, which would feed them both in such a way as to make them more complete.
And I can imagine, like she would have the knowledge about her race to some extent due to Jackal being friend with Tights.
Yeah. I'd agree. Sam Hennes, Masako, which movie villain would you choose next to make canon? Who has the most potential to be a believable threat to the Z Fighters? Oh, Cooler, no doubt. It's going to be Cooler. If there is going to be a new movie, it's going to be Cooler.
It's got to be.
I'm betting the farm on that. I'm betting the farm it's going to be Cooler in the next movie, and I believe that movie will come out in 2021, the end of next year.
Well, yeah. I mean, just from even a marketing perspective.
Marketing.
Exactly. Just from a marketing perspective, they've done the most popular movie character. So now their opportunity is to do the second most popular, make them canon in some way. And since Frieza's alive in DB Super, that means that there's a lot of things they can do there with a character like Cooler beyond just having him show up and fight the good guys.
Exactly.
You could do a lot as far as having him maybe want to challenge Frieza for control of the Empire or something like that,
Oh, yeah,
and
Frieza...
if they're going to what's that?
Oh, no, sorry, carry on. No, you cut out there, sorry.
Oh, well, and what I was going to say is that if they're going to repurpose him in much the same way that they repurposed Broly, right? And they tweaked it so that Broly's various attributes fit better with the way that Dragon Ball Super works, and they explained his rage, his berserker form, his whole Saiyan Wrath aspect and stuff like that, with the internalized Ozaru power and stuff like that. Like when Cooler was introduced, they presented him with a fourth form like it was a big deal, but it was a movie only thing and all this other stuff. Well, now Frieza has a form that goes beyond what his original final form was, right? And or a fifth form. I'm sorry, that was Cooler's fifth form, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now Frieza has a new form, the Golden Frieza thing, and so it makes fifth form Cooler seem a little bit less impressive by contrast, especially if we think about the fact that, like, okay, well, if Cooler had to train to acquire that form, wouldn't he be stronger? Wouldn't he be similar to Frieza? So now, taking all of that into account for the new Dragon Ball Super timeline, you could present a character like Cooler, who has been more or less off the galactic stage for a while, but have him pop in, and Frieza will be like, oh, you're not going to be a threat to my reign because I've developed even more power. And Cooler's like, oh, really? Well, somebody's a little late to the training game, and then he could present his own special form to counter Frieza's form,
Yeah.
And you can even have some fan service if you say you want to follow on some, thematic threads from Broly and have Cooler be Broly,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so and of course, it's gonna create a lot more opportunity for them to sell more Dokkan battle cards or whatever they're doing nowadays for the Dragon Ball Z marketing engine.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's going to be something worthwhile. I mean, I was
hope so.
wary going into Dragon Ball Super Broly, but I loved it.
No,
I
worked
loved
out well.
it.
It worked out well. And I imagine that this movie will be an even wider worldwide release, probably within like a few weeks of each other, like much quicker than Broly was, and probably break 200 mil. $200 million, I can imagine. And I could easily see that. Anyway,
Yeah.
that is everything from today's roundtable. We are donezo. So all that remains to be said is thank you all so much for sticking around for these last couple of hours. Thank you very much, Soph and Hav, for your hard work today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes, and again, this all really helps support the channel and really provides us some really good ideas and just gives you a chance to have your say. So join us next week. We have a full roster coming up very soon. I will put up the schedule tomorrow. And all that remains to be said is that, and looking forward to chapter 64 of the manga coming out next week too. So until next time, guys, and have yourself a very good rest of your day. Stay safe, everyone. Bye.
Bye.